Nerf just released these new N Series Dart Blasters, and I bought every single one of them to find out which ones, if any, you should buy. We're going from the cheapest to the most expensive, starting out with the ultra cheap $5 Nerf Ward. It comes packaged with a grand total of 2 N1 darts, and here is the blaster. These N1 darts are brand new, and because of this painted nub here, they are only compatible with this N Series Blaster range. They are shorter and have a flatter tip than the standard Elite dart, which is supposed to increase the accuracy, speed and distance, but we'll put that to the test in some comparisons. On the Ward we have a single tactical rail, which, let's face it, is less important on these smaller blasters. But one thing it has got going for it is that it's got 2 dart chambers, although it still fires one shot at a time. It doesn't matter which one you put the dart in, it will fire every time, and if you put 2 darts in, it will always fire from the top first. But there is an issue with this. When you have both darts loaded in and you fire the first dart, watch what happens to the bottom dart. It doesn't pop out by much, but it's enough to cause a second shot to sometimes fail. So you do need to get in the habit of pushing the second dart back in as you prime the blaster for your next shot. Sometimes it even fires 2 shots at once. I don't know how that happened. When it comes to the target test, the darts definitely feel powerful. It's just not the most accurate. It has some minor flaws, but because it's extremely cheap, I think it's worth buying just to try out the new N1 darts. Next up, we have the $10 N Series Agility, which comes packaged with 12 N1 darts. Here we have the blaster. The main feature here is the 6-dart rotating drum. To ready your shots, you have a pullback priming method, as well as a tactical rail on the underside of the blaster. Because this handle moves, I found it super easy to pull back. Much better than grabbing the top of the blaster, but you can still do that if you prefer. But this is not a unique blaster, it's very much a refresh of the Elite Commander, which is actually quite a good blaster, so let's see what the agility is like. It's handy having more darts available, but the shots are quite unpredictable. Unfortunately, it just doesn't offer anything new, and the older Elite Commander is actually a better blaster. I would say to avoid this one. Now this looks more unique, the $20 N Series Pinpoint. It comes packaged with 18 N1 darts, a 10 dart magazine, the barrel, and of course the blaster itself. Hold on a second, the magazine is a different colour to the one on the box. They must have messed up the packaging here. It's a shame that it's transparent orange, because I think the white one actually looks better. Once you snap the barrel on, it's a permanent fitting, unless you want to open up the blaster to remove it. With this barrel on, I feel like there's too much orange on here now. I wonder if this was a last minute colour change. There are some nice details here with the cutout targets and hit markers, and I think the overall shape looks quite futuristic. Although to me, the colour scheme of this whole range make these look more like retro Nerf blasters. What do you think about the colours and styling? To prime the blaster, you have this bolt action reload mechanism to make it feel more like a rifle. I'm happy that this scope doesn't use the cheap transparent plastic lens in it that distorts your view. This one is definitely more usable, but I would have preferred it if this was on a tactical rail and you could remove it to add your own scope. Here we go. I don't know if it's just the sights, but it feels like you have to aim higher than you would expect. Once you account for this, the shots fire consistently within a fairly tight group. Overall, it has a nice feel to it, but when you're comparing to the Elite series, which it's kind of replacing, then you realise you are missing out on features that the older blasters had, like the Eagle Point's removable barrel, the scope, and the onboard storage for extra darts. Purely focusing on the Pinpoint though, it's worth considering. It has decent performance. Okay, let's do a dart comparison to see if these brand new darts are any good. First up, we have the older Elite darts, firing from the Nerf Eagle Point. It's not too bad, the darts definitely feel weaker. Next up is the new N1 darts, firing from the N Series Pinpoint. It is an improvement, the grouping is slightly tighter. And finally, we have the Strike dart in the older Eagle Point. These aren't quite as strong, but they are even more accurate. So the N1 darts do perform slightly better than your average Elite darts, but the older blasters do have a lot of choice when it comes to the type of darts you can use, and these Strike darts are even better than the N1 darts. Although they're all fairly close. It's asking a lot for people to switch over to this new dart type. Let's see if these next blasters will make that switch worthwhile. At $25, we have the N Series Gear Up Pack. This set comes with 18 N1 darts, a separate stock, and a scope attachment. You actually get 3 different blasters here, which you can mix and match with the attachments. Individually, the blasters seem to be a step down from the Pinpoint, but there are 3 of them. It feels like this is more of a fun gift set rather than a serious standalone blaster, and you can actually get 5 of these smaller Flex blasters in the Flex Party Pack if you wanted. Just not seeing much to get excited about here. The Nerf Flex is basically the same as the Elite Ace. The slightly larger blaster feels like its bigger brother, and it has this stock attachment for some reason, even though it doesn't need one. And the largest blaster feels like an alternative to the Agility. On this one, the stock attachment is very much needed, because without it, this bolt action reload mechanism is quite difficult and awkward to use. The scope on here does make more sense as well, but you do only get a 4-dart rotating drum. All of these blasters have a single tactical rail on them, which is pretty much designed for the scope that you get in the pack. But the fact that you can put the scope on the Flex feels ridiculous. Who's going to use it like this? Let's test these all out though. The darts on the Flex are firing higher than where I seem to be aiming, almost like the opposite problem of the Pinpoint. After adjusting for this, it was shockingly accurate. Why is this so accurate? Once again, besides a few stray darts, this had good accuracy, and the largest blaster in the set also performed well. I wasn't expecting much on these, but the performance was really quite good. I'm just not a big fan of the ergonomics of this one. Definitely consider this set if you're after some smaller blasters. So right now is the perfect time to subscribe because we have some awesome videos coming up on this channel and I don't want you to miss them. Like, I missed that target. At $35, we are stepping it up with the N Series Strikeback. You get 18 N1 darts in the box, as well as these clip-on dart holders, which is a first for this range. And here we have the shotgun-style blaster. It has a 6-dart internal mag, a single tactical rail on top, and onboard storage to store up to 12 additional darts. These clips are a little bit rattly, and they do feel like they would snap if you tried to pull them back off. Being a shotgun-style blaster, it of course has a pump-action reload mechanism. And I really like how this orange panel works. As you prime the blaster, the orange section moves back and stays back to let you know that you have a dart ready to fire. And when you fire, this section launches forward for the extra wow factor. Wait, what? Two other things I noticed. This stock is a bit too short to use comfortably, and this whole trigger grip section is at quite a bit of an angle, so it takes some getting used to. It feels more suited to being held out one-handed like that. At least it feels cooler that way. It reminds me a lot of the Ultra Phi, which also has an internal mag, and that performs really well, so let's give this one a go. The shots are scattering slightly, like a shotgun I suppose. How about this unconventional way of aiming? This is almost more accurate. Maybe not. The Strikeback is okay. It's certainly not the best blaster here, so I would probably avoid it. The $40 N Series Sprinter is probably the one I've been most looking forward to trying. It's packaged with 16 N1 darts and a 16 dart magazine. The blaster itself has a unique colour scheme with this added green colour. I would say that the shape of this is the most different from the rest of the range. There's definitely more angles going on here rather than smoother curves. This is the only blaster in the N Series range that is motorised, and it's powered by 6 AA batteries. It's not fully automatic, it fires single shots at a time, which the packaging doesn't really explain. All it says is motorised fast fire. It's the same for the others as well. The Pinpoint simply says long range accuracy. How long? It's not very helpful. Elsewhere on the blaster we have a tactical rail on the top. I have to say this is by far the most comfortable to hold. All of the proportions just fit perfectly for me. And I love this hole here to rest your thumb in. It's all curved and feels really smooth. I'm also a big fan of this larger than average 16 dart magazine. Let's see how this one performs. Okay, this one is extremely accurate. Look how tightly the shots are grouped together. And this is firing as fast as I can. This is really impressive. There's not too much performance drop off when firing fast. It's one of the more expensive blasters here, but I would recommend buying this, as the performance more than justifies the cost. The $40 N Series Infinite is the headline blaster from this new range. In the box you get a ridiculous 80 N1 darts, as well as what Nerf calls a 40 dart battle belt. And here is the very clean looking blaster. Along the top it has one long tactical rail and it features a pump action reload mechanism, which is nice and easy to use. It doesn't require too much force. The main talking point here though is this battle belt, where the dart belt rotates as you fire. It looks really cool. You can also store up to 16 darts inside the centre of this belt, which can be useful, especially as you can top this belt up with darts as you're firing. It's where the whole Infinite name comes from. With all that said, because it holds 40 darts, you really won't be topping it up that much. Before the target test, two things. First of all, it's quite streamlined, quite narrow, so it doesn't get in your way while moving around. But this has got to be one of the noisiest, rattliest blasters I've ever used. Listen to it! Even the pump action grip is shaking around. Generally speaking, it's quite accurate, but I found that occasionally a dart will fly out with a bit less power. I can't help but think it's because these darts have quite a bit of movement in this belt. It might just be affecting how it's loading in the chamber. It's not the best performance here, but the design is quite cool, so it's worth considering. My overall thoughts on this new range of blasters is that it's okay, and that's kind of the issue, because if you're forcing people to use this whole new type of dart in just these blasters, then it's got to be better than that. It's got to be better than okay. There is nothing here that is an absolute must buy at their current prices, and it feels like everything is being dialed back and simplified. Time will tell if this new type of dart will stick around, or whether it will just be like the Ultra range, which I actually prefer. Thanks for watching.